Victim of substance abuse, Awal Yusuf shares his gory experience after abusing prescription drugs for years. In this Facebook video, Awal is seen lying on his sick bed in a hospital after undergoing a surgery due to the damage caused to his organs. He pleads with the youth involved in substance abuse to stop.
If you are going to die, we should die naturally from Allah, not from all kind of these syrups and everything.
Awal's plight is not an isolated case. A budding dancehall musician in Nima, Al-Kabos, also shares his experience with substance abuse.
I've experienced it before, but I don't usually talk about it because I feel very ashamed that I've been there before. It got to a time I started to feel something over here. I mean, when I say drugs, I mean this Benylin and Litalin, you know, those, I mean, they are syrups. You add them to your energy drink or any kind of drink and you sip them, you know.
Al-Kabos tells me there is a growing trend of prescription drug abuse, typically pain relievers like tramadol, codeine and cough mixtures among the youth in Ghana. In fact, this video of a man mixing a cough mixture with a drink, which is being circulated on social media platforms including WhatsApp, shows how widespread the phenomenon is. The abuse of prescription drugs is gaining grounds among the youth in many communities in Ghana. It's a situation demanding urgent attention because there is easy access to these drugs along the streets, in market centers and chemist shops. In this secret video recording, I engaged a pharmacy attendant to ascertain how easy it is to buy a cough mixture.
Do you have Benylin cough mixture? Benylin cough mixture. What's this? What is a cough mixture? Cough mixture. Oh, you said cough mixture, but it's made by Benylin or something. Okay, so I have to find out. So, but how much is the price? Does the person have to bring the prescription or once he knows the type?
In this second secret video recording, I engaged another pharmacy attendant to find out how easy it is to buy the painkiller tramadol.
It's a painkiller, but people use it for other things.
Oh wow. Okay, but because I was thinking maybe he would need a prescription. Okay. So he said
the made in Ghana one. The one we have, the local one, a strip is 30 cedis. Okay. And the foreign one is 19 cedis.
Benylin cough mixture, usually called Benylin, has become one of the most abused drugs among the youth, even to the extent that dancehall musician Shatawale used it in his lyrics on the Taking Over song. The menace of abuse of prescription drugs, especially opioids and analgesics, has forced a youth group within Zongo communities to launch a campaign against the practice. So I went to Nima to meet a member of the youth group, Inusa Muhammad. He tells me the situation is so prevalent in the Zongo communities that if authorities and opinion leaders do not act fast, it will worsen.
Ignorance leads some of our youth into it, because when something is the current part of the town or is in vogue, there are certain youths who, I wouldn't say because they've not controlled their minds in such a way, they find out, oh, I've been the kitchen and this is the current fad in town, so we could also do it. So they start doing it without knowing the repercussions involved in such deeds.
Elsewhere, I met Edward Aban, whose friend Stanley Boatin was killed 2 months ago by a man suspected to have abused drugs when he committed a crime.
And a guy came with a motorbike, asking him to leave there. He want to park the motor, and he was like, why are you ordering me to move from the road? So as he parked the motor, he started fighting with the guy. So the Stanley Boatin came to help his friend, and the guy stabbed him with a knife. Instead of them to use taxi or something, they put him on a motorbike. Right. So I had on the way going to the hospital, he fell down from the motorbike, and they put him into a taxi and sent him to the my one way polyclinic. When they get there, the doctor said they can't do anything, so they should send him to Rich. So they took him to Rich, and the doctor said they've delayed. They could have like brought him earlier. He will be alive, but they've delayed, so they can't do anything. He's dead.
A clinical pharmacy specialist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Franklin Echampon, says the abuse of prescription drugs is causing so much damage to those engaged in it and demands urgent attention.
People tend to think that when they have a headache, they have bodily pains, every day they can get to the pharmacy or get to wherever they have they have a backup pile of analgesics, painkillers in their house. They can just pick any of them, take them as many as they want, as much as they want, as frequently as they know. You know, these things have led to liver cirrhosis, liver damage. And the second most important one is our kidney damage. You know, interestingly, now we are having people have to go on dialysis. We are having people coming in with chronic kidney disease just because they have abused these painkillers.
Ghana's leading pharmaceutical player, NS Chemist Limited, which partners world's largest pharmaceutical company Johnson & Johnson to market and distribute products such as Benylin for flu and Benylin chesty cough, recently won an award for its major appreciation in sales of these products, a situation attributed to the company's innovative and unconventional market leadership. Dr. Franklin Echampon says such achievements need to be probed to rule out cases of abuse of these prescription drugs among consumers.
These drugs that we've heard on the media, the tramadol, the pethidine and all that, these are strictly prescription-only medicines. And some of them are not even supposed to be available in the community. But people are becoming much more intelligent. There are some cough medications that contain opioids. They are there because the opioid medicines suppress the cough center in the brain. So that is the mechanism of action of these medications. So they are put there for therapeutic reasons. It's not that we want people to use the opioid. They are put there for therapeutic reasons. They suppress the cough center in the brain. And people tend to, and they are in smaller doses. But what people tend to do is to buy in volumes and then abuse them.
Meanwhile, as the abuse of prescription drugs gets out of hand and the victims become addicts, there is only one unit in the country established to help them through rehabilitation. Here at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital Addictive Disease Unit, Logosu Amegashi, who heads the facility, expresses frustration about how there seems to be little support for victims of substance abuse.
Addiction is not only a disease of the user. It is a family disease, therefore a societal disease, a community disease, and a national challenge. Listen to it very carefully. If for any reason I am sleeping in my room and people under the influence of drugs, and I say I'm not concerned, and they try under the influence of drugs to come and arm rob me, do whatever they wanted to do, if I am alive to tell the story, then we cannot put this thing under the carpet. We must not pretend that nothing is happening. As a nation, the time has come for us, especially in the increase of these socio-economic challenges. People are getting frustrated, stressed, and all those other things are coming. Therefore, there is some sort of correlation between stress and drug use.
With the country in the throes of an epidemic, communities across the nation are being forced to confront the harrowing and often fatal effects of opioid abuse. In America, nearly 60,000 citizens died because of drug overdose in 2016, with the majority of those deaths attributed to opioids, according to the Department of Justice. In Ghana, however, there is no statistics in this regard, but Logosu Amegashi believes the situation is dire.
We are striving to have a national data, and that is going to be very difficult. Why? You can have institutional data collated as the Narcotics Control Board is doing. The various known institutions that are doing something about drug addiction have their individual institutional data, and this is collated every year by the Narcotics Narcotics Control Board of Ghana. But listen very carefully. The number of people who are using drugs on the streets that you know are more than. So I believe that what is captured is just a microcosm of what is actually happening on the floor. I think about 5% of people who are having substance use disorders are in the institutions, and those are the ones that can be captured.
The Department of Justice in America recently announced it will award almost $59 million in grants for programs addressing the opioid epidemic across the country. As the menace gradually deepens in Ghana, there is no clear roadmap on how to tackle the abuse of prescription drugs. Nabil Ahmed Rufai, GH1 News.